Hi, I'm Courtney Sauls.
Hey, I'm Brandon Scott.
We are members of IAMA Theater Company and Ammunition Theater Company.
And we are putting on the Pass the Mic Festival, Amplifying Black Voices. If you want to learn more about it, keep watching this video. So IAMA and AMO are two theater companies that I'm a co-founder of both of them, and Courtney is a member of both of them. And so IAMA's been around for about 10 years, I want to say, and AMO's been around for about 5 years. And so they approached us to, because they were collaborating to put on the Pass the Mic event. And they were looking for the host to facilitate the evening. And I don't know why, but they chose Courtney and I. And so it's going to be, but we were really honored to be asked to help be a part of this evening.
I had been a fan of IAMA's work for a while. And so when I was asked to kind of be a part of it and to work with the company, I was definitely honored. And AMO and IAMA, I have, a relationship with a lot of the founders and the members. A lot of them kind of hail from NYU, which is where Brennie and I both went and how we met. So yeah, they both do really beautiful work. I think really current work, pushing the envelope. And so yeah, I mean, why would I would of course say yes to be a part of these companies. Really, really great companies.
What's great about IAMA Theater, IAMA Theater was started about 10 years ago by some NYU artists mostly who found themselves in Los Angeles and were trying to figure out how to stay sane and connected to theater in an industry in a town that mostly promotes film and television. And also a lot of theater at the time, it felt in Los Angeles at the time was more geared towards the big theater companies like Center Theater Group or the Geffen. And a lot of the small theater companies weren't getting a lot of traction, or you had to kind of sort through it all to find theater companies that reminded or were reminiscent or doing work like New York. They were out there. It's just that I think a lot of people coming to LA, us as transplants, constantly heard that theater in LA is dead or theater in LA is nothing compared to New York. But then once you kind of get past the industry showcases and things like that, there's a vibrant small theater community in Los Angeles and in San Diego and the whole region. And so we wanted to be a part of that. And we were very interested in creating new work. So IAMA only creates new work. It promotes creating new work, and at the time, and this is still part of the mission statement, a voyeuristic, very edgy new work from young playwrights, and works with a wide variety of artists. And again, what's great about IAMA is now a lot of its members have moved more into film and television. And so through that access of a wider audience, we're actually able to bring some audiences that may not have been theater goers into the theater and some of the work that's created there. AMO, which is Ammunition Theater Company, was started. The mission is about using theater and our voices and stories as ammunition to amplify underrepresented communities and stories. So AMO, again, was founded by some mostly NYU theater kids who, again, were saw that there was a lack of diverse stories and also a lack of, some of these artists, we wanted to also get into the community and do activism work to help also amplify, to help communities and nonprofits amplify the voices within their clientele and the communities they work with. So what's great about AMO is AMO, while also it's a very diverse, eclectic in terms of leadership, in terms of membership, but also every year AMO partners with a nonprofit organization and helps their members, or not just helps their members, also their members help us to learn more about ourselves. We help them to use theater to, use their voice. And then eventually each year we put on a gala or a project or a show with those community members. And what's great about AMA also, it's, I think, showing that through diverse storytelling, through diverse leadership, through also engaging with the community, AMO has brought in a wide range of new audience members, many of them who have said, this is my first theater experience ever. I didn't even know that, you know, this story could be told in this capacity or whatnot. So those are the basic missions of the companies. And I think that they're just the two perfect companies to, again, partner on this Pass the Mic, Amplifying Black Voices show.
So the festival is, you know, in our current climate of really being kind of awakened to some of the underlying issues socially, whether it be institutionalized racism or systematic racism. In this time, I think, you know, it is really important that we are bringing to the forefront and celebrating and honoring those voices of not only Black people, people of color, people that have been marginalized, but you know, in the theater is for all. And like you had mentioned earlier about theater storytelling being a way to really humanize people and let them see themselves and understand connection and how we you know all experience very similar emotions, feelings, and so this event is really to amplify those voices that maybe have not been heard enough, have not really had been invited to the table, haven't really been able to be seen in the space. And so it's 5 Black playwrights writing new shorts inspired by what's happening right now currently in the current climate, and then 5 Black directors directing those shorts. And just being able to kind of share that work, celebrate that work. And Brennie and I are hosting, and hopefully we will be somewhat entertaining, but also to inspire people, to inspire those people of color that maybe feel like they haven't been heard to be able to use their voice, and to inspire allies as well to create space and open doors for more of those voices to be amplified.
But we have 5 Black playwrights who have written 5 original short pieces. And what's great about it is that I think it's also bringing awareness to these playwrights that I think a lot of people, like some of them I know of, and some of them I haven't read their work. And so it's great. I mean, all of these shorts are really awesome. They deal with and I'll look up the names of all of them in a second. But Courtney's got that. That's why we're a great team. But they're, again, dealing with the current climate, but also, I'm sure, things that they've been thinking on or talking about or exploring for a long time. And so what's great about it is it ranges from just the day-to-day dealings with being in a pandemic, and also the trauma of witnessing something like the police brutality, but also trying to kind of figure out how to move to deal with that pain, but also how to stay also present for yourself and take care of yourself, to something like a surrealistic, ancestral, how would we describe it? A surrealistic ancestral short that is about just where do we move next, you know? And so it goes from there to like, there's one piece about writing for the theater and having a white artistic director who the Black playwright and the white artistic director are trying to communicate with each other about the vision for the piece and who is the piece for. And each of them have their own agendas and are really not seeing eye to eye, but then how does that conversation evolve? And what else is there? I mean, they're all over the place in a good way. And there's so many different stories being told here, which I think that are great to be integrated in the current conversation that I think nationally is happening, even internationally somewhat. And I think that these all fit well and are nuanced in a way to where I think everyone the audience members will walk away, hopefully, like Courtney said, being inspired by it, seeing it in a different light, through a different lens, and also just simply being introduced to 5 dope new writers, 5 dope new directors, and some new actors and 2 new theater companies that are, I think, again, actively engaging in this conversation.
Yes, and to follow up on that, I will read off the plays and the playwrights and the directors directing them. So we have Grace by Malika Oyetimein. I might be saying that wrong. Oyetimein, directed by Cheyenne Barboza. There's Laid to Rest by Donnetta Lavinia Grays, directed by Valerie Curtis Newton. There's The Gays, ... No Homo, by Larry Powell, directed by Larry Powell. Tomorrow by Carolyn Ratteray, directed by Keiana, Richárd. And Remember the Light Rail by D.G. Watson, directed by Keith Powell. And that's actually the piece that I'm in. So yeah, like a lovely new voices. And like Brandon was saying, each one, I think the underlying theme is somewhat kind of similar of wanting to be seen, wanting to be heard, wanting to be respected. Also sometimes needing space to not only process what's happening right now, but perhaps grieve a little bit of what's happening. And that kind of like that push and pull of wanting to be supported by allies, but also needing to create those boundaries of what is appropriate during these times. And it's really tricky. It's kind of a fine line to kind of walk, but even though they're all kind of so different, and they deal with these issues in different ways, some are a little more humorous, some are a little more esoteric. I think ultimately it's all kind of, what's beautiful is they live in this world of having these tough conversations that perhaps are made easier through art, right?
After the Pass the Mic festival, there will be a post-show discussing, and we're still finessing that right now. As of now, we're going to be bringing back a few of the writers and the directors to discuss, number one, just, artist activism, creating art during this time around these topics, amplifying Black voices, also just discussing what we just saw and the inspiration, also what the hope that what audiences will take from it. We'll field questions from the audience, and then right now we're very close to locking in a Black activist to also help us with this conversation. And then we want to turn this, again, this evening is about these artists amplifying these voices, also their narrative activism. And then we want to talk about other ways that everyone in the audience can be activists, things they can do, organizations they can support. I don't even know if we said yet that donations, we're going to be taking donations. This is going to be a bit of a telethon too, because we're going to be taking donations for 2 great social justice organizations, Build Power and Color of Change, which these organizations are doing a lot of great strategic work to combat some of these issues. And so the post-show discussion will wrap all that up together. And again, we hope to, inspire, to educate, to entertain, and to also raise some money for, again, the next step of this conversation.
This event, I believe this event and the theater groups are so important right now because as Brandon mentioned, art can be activism. And I know for myself, I have, struggled or questioned, how can I be of service right now during this time? What can I do to move us closer to this equality for all that I think that so many of us are really hungry for? And it got me to thinking about what artists were doing in the past during those pivotal moments in history. We've mentioned names at me and Brandon's conversations. We've mentioned names like Langston Hughes or Nina Simone or George C. Wolfe, or all of these different creatives that were using their voice to be active, to be active in this change and for human rights. And so, I think it's important that not only we step out of our comfort zone, but we also use our innate gifts during this time. And protesting, donating, posting on social media are all beautiful ways to be a part of this movement, but also creating art and sharing that art and being able to, again, to educate through art and to inspire and to pose questions and to pique people's interest during this time. So I think those are the reasons why it's incredibly important that this event is happening and that these theater companies are willing to use their platform to elevate this conversation. As we move forward, always moving forward.
On top of that, just right now, also with the pandemic, everyone's kind of, at home somewhat. Hopefully they're at home wearing masks when they go out. But, everyone is glued to, I think more so to their TVs, their computers, their devices and things like that. And so I think just as a theater company, we were asking ourselves, how do we stay engaged already? Because, all these theater houses have pretty much gone dark, and everyone's saying that theater is, again, dead until this pandemic is over. But it's been exciting to see which companies have continued to stay engaged with their audiences. And then also just to add on again, that I think it was important for these theater companies already to stay engaged, but then just in terms of theater at this time, during this time of Corona, but also to then jump into the conversation that's happening around, systemic racism and police brutality and all these things. So I think it was very important for us to pivot in that direction. And I'm really glad that the companies pivoted and didn't just keep the agenda of, okay, now we're just going to do our next reading that we had planned, which is about, this and that. We clearly made a pivot that already we were planning on. I think we had already outlined the next few months, and then the protests started happening, and we said, hey, we need to we need to pivot a bit more. We need to jump in this conversation. And so I think that's just a testament of these companies just, having their ear to the ground and being actively engaged and wanting to, again, be more engaged. I think you must attend this virtual event because, again, I think it's a way to engage in the conversation. I think it's going to be entertaining, and it's a celebration also. So we really want it to be celebratory. Amplifying Black voices is a celebration, and I think you're going to want to come to this party and be a part of this event also, because it'll mark so many tears for you. It's activism, it's creativity, it's inspiration, it's storytelling. There's humor, there's drama. There are going to be special guests here and there. You think you're going to know what it is, and you're going to be surprised. And it's a very collaborative effort. Been really proud of all the company members who have come together to put this presentation on, and all the artists who wrote these pieces and directed and are acting in them. And then the last thing, on a tech level, if you are interested in tech, we're using this new platform called StreamYard. So if you have Zoom fatigue, I'm telling you, this is a completely different experience. There's going to be some tech visual magic going on that I think will help the storytelling to where it feels more like very theatrical, as opposed to maybe you're just watching these boxes and people act within these boxes.
Well, you can find us on our websites, IAMAtheater.com, ammunitiontheater.com. I'm looking at Brandon to make sure that's right. And then also follow us on socials, the social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. There's always events going on. I think I agree with Brandon that we've, been very innovative during this time of stay-at-home orders. And so we're constantly putting things out. IAMA just had an event last night on Instagram Live. So follow us so that you can stay up to date with what's happening.
Also I think on our YouTube page, this event will be posted eventually. So if you miss it, when we post it on the IAMA YouTube page, you can rewatch it and or watch it for the first time. And then in addition, any of these organizations, Build Power or Color of Change, if you feel so inspired to donate, the donation link will be there, or just follow them on social and give a donation to them, and you can support in that way also.